Just starting out, really encouraged. Coming off of yesterday's performance, one of the most unique games I've been a part of, really as a player or coach, and just really proud of our team. You know, the composure, the resiliency, and really just the ultimate team factor of relying on each other to try to get it done under really tough circumstances against what I do believe is one of the premier football teams in this league and one of the premier quarterbacks in this league. It's a tough place to play. The Bills fans and that atmosphere made it hard to communicate at times, stressed us in certain areas of our execution, and then to deal with the elements as well. Our leadership, top to bottom on our football team, deserves a ton of credit. Some of our biggest playmakers showing up when it mattered the most, and then ultimately coming together to get to experience, yet another victory in the locker room together afterwards. And as I told our team today, we've got to turn things around pretty quickly. It was an emotional, the highs and lows of an emotional victory like that on the road, pretty physical football game. We're going to have a great week of prep and really turn over and get our minds in the right place to have a great week of prep leading into getting an opportunity back at US Bank Stadium against another very, very good football team that causes a lot of problems for you. So a big week of preparation, but definitely happy and encouraged about where our team's at and our ability to win close football games. We still have a lot to improve on as the season, continues to roll on, and we'll definitely be working as hard as possible to do that. Just giving you guys a quick update. Both Christian Darrisaw and Caleb Evans are in the concussion protocol. Don't really want to get into symptoms and different speculation on what that will look like throughout the week. I think it's very important that we let the medical team and that protocol play itself out as far as their availability for when they can possibly have the ability to play this weekend or not. We'll keep you guys updated, but I think it's very important that we rely on the medical team and make sure that the players' health and safety is the number one priority when dealing with that. So Z's doing well. I know I said he had a knee contusion kind of after the game, but he battled through it and continues to be one of our marquee premier players that help us win football games by how he impacts the game. So we'll see how he does throughout the week. But with that, I'll open it up to you guys.
Okay, we'll start with John, Chris, and then Ben.
Hi, Kevin. When you were introduced as coach way back in February, someone asked you how close you thought this team was talent-wise to really competing for maybe a Super Bowl. And you said, well, we've talked about that a lot, and I think we're not that far. Is this what you envisioned?
Well, I don't know about, ultimately what I envisioned at the time before we had the opportunity to really get on the grass and really get to know these guys and really build what we've really tried to build on a minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour basis here in year one. But what I can tell you is I feel incredibly fortunate to have the roster we do of impactful players, tremendous leadership, guys that understand our standard and what we want our culture and our performance to be like each and every time we get to come together and work together, whether it's games, practices, you name it. And I think we're improving. Whatever ultimately is going to be the final chapter and the total story of this team this year, there's a lot out in front of us, and we got to continue to just improve and put our head down and make it about the work and the preparation that will ultimately give us the opportunity to feel the confidence to go win football games, however those opportunities may come. And I think we can rely on what we've done up until this point, but as I tell our team every single week, it really doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot when it comes to trying to win a football game this week, but we can, in the back of our minds, understand that no football game is over. Give us just one more opportunity, one more play to try to turn things in our favor, capture momentum, and then try to hunt down another victory. So each game is its own entity, and we got to continue to make sure that we're doing our thing to prepare and improve this football team, and that's coaches included, mainly myself included, making sure that I continue to grow as not only the head coach, but play caller and just decision-making and things like that. Hopefully our best football is out in front of us.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin. You guys apparently have tied an NFL record for consecutive one-score games, 1-7. I mean, you've touched upon it, but what is it about this team that makes them just so resilient and never says die, and took it to such a tremendous extreme? Obviously, yesterday, that attitude.
Yeah, I think, Chris, you can look at, and I kind of referenced this post game, but just I think some of those games early on in the season, and as we've grown as a football team, where we have been able to get it done, either just a deficit in the fourth quarter, or maybe it is a 10-point deficit, relying on different phases of our football team and understanding how it all comes together in those critical moments to truly be a complementary football team. And I think no greater example than it wasn't going well yesterday at one point. We are trailing by 17. And I just look at, for our defense, for example, to hold the Bills to only 6 points in the second half and overtime, and then special teams to try to make an impact on the game. Greg obviously making the game-winning kick, but then offensive, being able to move the football under some tough circumstances. And although we would have loved to finish those drives with touchdowns, but to still be able to show our entire team that we're making plays, we're moving the football, and this thing is very much possible for us to go accomplish this tremendous challenge and go get a win. I think we play off of each other well, and I think our guys really respond to each other well, and I think it's a testament to kind of their experience in those situations this year, and also our ability to have our best playmakers and guys that we need to step up and be at their best when it's required. They're doing that.
Kevin, kind of on the close game front, the NFL put out some stats yesterday about how the league is basically on a record-breaking pace in terms of number of one-score games, number of comebacks late in games. Do you have any theories as to why those things are becoming more prevalent, the comebacks and just close games in general?
Ben, it's hard to say. I think, you just look at – I just know when we prepare for the opponents we're playing every week, you just feel like there's impactful players and really good coaching that challenges offenses and defensive schemes that you've put on tape. And it's hard to say if that's directly an impact on why the games are so close. I just know the margin of error is so thin between good plays and catastrophically bad plays, to be honest with you, that can change the entire outcome of games. So when I look at it, I just see this game is about momentum. It's about being able to sustain a momentum of your own, but then also finding ways, any means necessary to try to, limit the momentum of the other side. And I think teams in this league are doing that game in and game out. And, it's hard. It's hard to just completely distance yourself from an opponent and be, have every play go your way for 4 quarters. It just seems, although that's what we strive for and try to have our own perfect level of execution, I think just the way the game is nowadays, it's hard to come by, and you just got to be ready for it to be close in the end.
Next, we'll go with Dave, Joe, and then Mark.
Kevin, you obviously knew what you had in Justin Jefferson when you got hired, but now that you've actually coached him in person, what are maybe the most interesting or impressive things you know about him now that maybe you didn't before?
Oh man, I think the coolest thing is just I've really watched him even in now 9 games. He's growing as a true professional week in and week out. How he prepares, how he goes about his business on a Sunday, how he attacks the challenges that are presenting themselves to him in year 3, where he is a focal point of the people we are playing against. How he kind of overcomes the many adversities that come up throughout a game, trying to overcome how he's being defended. Like I said, I just think the growth is there. His overall love of football. He's one of the ultimate competitors that I have been around, and that he truly believes that he's capable of greatness every time he goes on the field. And I happen to agree with him with that, and just trying to continue to give him the opportunities in our offensive system to flourish and allow him to be a real huge part of not only our offense, but why we're winning football games and why our team is so confident.
Okay, my thing is stuck here.
I can hear you, Joe.
You can hear me. Okay.
Yeah, and you look great today as well.
Oh,
Well,
now
I
you're on
can
mute,
hear you.
Joe.
There we go. I got you.
Joe, you're still muted.
All right. This thing is really screwy. Some teams can handle success and some teams can't handle success. What's the difference, and what do you have to do to make sure this team doesn't start believing their headlines?
Yeah, I think it's been really important all season long. We don't really concern ourselves too much with the headlines because, very rarely are they an actual depiction of reality. That's just the truth. And I think it's important that our guys understand every single week in this league, the biggest challenge, I think, over the course of a 17-game season and then hopefully more football games on top of that is maintaining your process, staying true to how you go about your week as a professional, how you fit into an entire team setting, culture that we built up, and understand how important it is to do your part. I do think it's going to be a significant challenge for us this week, maybe not because of the noise, but just because of the challenge of physical, highly contested for a lot of players. Knowing the type of challenge it's going to be Sunday at US Bank Stadium, we got to get these guys turned over, prepared for a really good football team, and then see if we can have our guys at our best for that 3.5-hour window. But I don't look at it as much of a as far as the headlines and things, as much as I do just the week in and week out grind. That our standard remains very high, and we're constantly hoping and striving to be a better football team every opportunity we get to go out together.
Yeah, Kevin, this will probably be the most loaded softball you'll get. Suppose you guys keep, refusing to lose. You keep playing like, Kirk and Jefferson keep playing like this, and you guys have the best record in the league. Who's the better league MVP pick, Kirk or Justin?
Oh, I can answer that question because I just know how both, and I don't mean to not answer your question, Mark, because it is that doesn't seem like much of a softball now that I've heard the whole question. But I can tell you that they're both incredibly impactful reasons why we're 8-1 as a football team. I do believe they've come together in a way where I've seen their relationship grow. I've seen both Justin's maturation as a professional here in year 3 as a premier player in this league, but also Kirk Cousins in year 1 of an offense where he's played a lot of football. He's had a lot of success in his career, but there's some elements of this year have been new and different, and we're asking a lot out of him. And he's striving to be at his best when it's required. And I think you can't say enough about the quarterback position. I think sometimes they do get a lot more critiques when teams lose, and they get a lot of credit when teams win. But the way we're winning football games, you don't do without critical high-level play from your quarterback position. And a lot of those plays end up going number 18's way, and both those guys seem to continue to make those plays. So to answer your question, I'll let you guys figure out that. But I do know that both of them have been highly, highly critical for our success this year, and continue to both prove to me that they're huge parts of not only what we are now, but what we'll be moving forward.
Will?
Hey, Kevin, kind of 2 parts on cornerbacks. What did you see from Andrew Booth being kind of thrust into action with a really tough matchup, seeing a lot of digs? And then how cool was it to see a guy like Duke Shelley, penultimate play of that game, stepping up and making a huge play for you guys?
Yeah, I thought it was great work for Andrew to get in there, and there's no higher level that you can step into a football game than trying to defend a receiver, really receivers like the Bills had, and how they spread you out. And then, their quarterback can, no matter what the elements are, no matter what the down and distance situation, whether you get a pass rush on him or not, he's in playmaking mode at all times and can make every play if it's available to him. So unbelievable challenge for our guys. I thought it was great work for Andrew. And then Duke getting in there and making the impact there on that critical PBU down there in the red zone on Knox there in the one-on-one situation. That guy has continued since day one showing up here at our facility. Will, he's been a guy that just continues to show that he's got the ability to make those plays and that he's confident in himself. He's very smart, instinctive, applies the experience that he's had at some other stops to playing a role in our defense. And I think we'll be able to find some spots for both him and Andrew to continue to, get some playing time and get in there and help us. By any means necessary to win games truly means by any means necessary. And I want to make sure we talk about Blake Brendel as well. 40 snaps stepping in kind of a throwing mode type of offense against many snaps against one of the premier rushers in this league. And I thought Blake answered the call. And Duke, Blake, I mean, you can go game in and game out. It seems like it was a Caleb against the Commanders stepping in, and you can really go back and see guys being ready when their numbers, called to be ready to answer that call and help us win football games. All of that leads to a confident group that knows we've got a lot of guys that can help us win. And as long as we do our part from a preparation phase and get these guys ready to roll, we can feel confident, every opportunity we get the rest of the way.